Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well and hope you're all enjoying this glorious weather. I've been moaning about the rain. I mean, anybody on the school run with me will know that I moan about the weather because I'm not keen on winter or autumn. I like summer. So yeah, I am happy to see a bit of sunshine. And to be honest with you, I was happy when I got to Benidorm last week to see that the weather report that initially was planned was not completely true. And we had a lot more sunshine than we did rain. So yippee! Right, well, I thought I'd sort of jump back on it. I've had a busy week, getting back into it and sort of some really great results from the clients that I've been working with. But I just thought I'd sort of jump on and do a quick live because I think sometimes it's important to sort of be honest about how long these sort of processes take. I think because there's so much conflicting information out there, and also because of all these sort of crazy fad diets and different ways of losing weight and, you know, all of that. I just think sometimes it's best to just cut through it all and explain sort of how long these sort of processes can take if you're looking into sort of doing a fat loss journey or a gain journey or a healthy eating journey. Because it's not an overnight fix. I think some people may forget sometimes, or maybe, yeah, they do forget sometimes, that the amount of time it's taken to maybe put on the weight that they have. And that's not overnight. So if that's not overnight, why would it be overnight to lose it? And the problem also is the case that sometimes if it's been going on for years and people have been yo-yo dieting their way through, that fat that they gained, that weight, can be quite stubborn to lose. So it takes quite a lot of effort and time to reduce that and to get it off. But if you do it in the correct way with someone who knows what they're doing, then it won't be as painful as some people think it's going to be. I just still think there's a lot of people out there thinking that you have to be on these crash diets where you're basically eating 800 calories. You know, I know there's been TV programs on this and there's been a thing about this. But the problem we've got is the fact that if you go on this crash diet, what happens at the end of it? What happens when you come off it? What do you do? And this is, I think, a lot of the problem. Because, and that goes for anything really, that goes for things like Cambridge, that goes even for companies like Slimming World and Weight Watchers, which I think are brilliant. I think they're great for support. I think you do get a sense of what's healthy to eat and what things maybe aren't so healthy. So it is educating people on the correct foods that you should be eating. However, what happens at the end of it? When do you get to the end of it? How do you come out of it and sustain that loss for good? And I think that's what the issue is. And that's what I'm trying to educate people on that work with me, in the fact that it is an ongoing process to get to your final goal. Some people's process is going to be longer than others. It all depends on where you're at, really. You might be someone that's got a very small amount to lose and just needs to get on board maybe with eating healthier foods, eating the right amounts of carbohydrates, fat and protein. And once you've sort of got to that place, because you didn't really have a lot to lose, then you can then work your way back up to what we call your maintenance calories. And then you stay on that. And that's not the calories that you would have been on to get yourself down. That would have been the calories you have to work your way back up to sit on comfortably and not regain the weight. Because this is the thing. You can't keep dieting, reducing. Where are you going to go with that? Where's that going to end? You can't, you know, it's all well and good reducing. I even do it myself. I will put someone in a deficit of anything from about 250 to 500 calories per day, because that will enable you to lose half to a pound a week, which is what you should be looking to lose safely. But once you've done that, what do you go after that? Because the thing is, you can't just keep going on those calories. Eventually, you'll come to plateau. You'll plateau and you'll think, oh, right, well, that's not working anymore. And then you'll fall off of it and go back to square one again. And this is why a lot of these diets don't work long term, because eventually you just get stuck in a rut and you're like, wow, that's another unsuccessful diet, so I give up on that. Or what should I do next? What crazy thing shall I try next? And this is coming from experience here, because like I've said before, I have tried it all. So, and there's never seems to be the end in sight. And there is an end in sight if you are taught and know what you're doing. If I explain sort of a standard process with fat loss, in a sense of, let's just say you've got someone who has been eating over what they should be eating. So they have been, we call it, it's food, it's energy. So you've been consuming more energy, more foods, more calories than your body is expending. So then your body is burning off. So let's just say you've been doing that, and that is what has increased your weight. What we would do is I would work out what calories you should be on based on the factors that I've said before in these videos. You base it on your sex, you base it on your age, you base it on what your weight is sat at that point. And that then enables me to calculate what you should be on and put you in a deficit of up to 500 calories to enable you to lose £1 a week. Now, what would normally happen is that then you would sit on it. And this has happened with clients that I work with, because I do post results of people's as well to show how it's been going throughout the weeks. So you'll start, I mean, initially you'll probably lose maybe a couple of pounds in the first week. A lot of that is water weight, and then it will slow down. And then what should happen is then you should start to see a decrease in your measurements, because I think measurements are most important over scale weight. I would say normally you would sort of go for around about 8 to 10 weeks, and then you might sort of find you might start to plateau. So let's just say you've gone for 8 to 10 weeks and you've dropped a few kilos in weight, a couple of kilos in weight. Then where do you go from there? You can't just stay where you're at. So then at that point, someone like myself would then recalculate based on your new weight the calories that you should be on to take you further on your goals, because like I said, it all depends on how much you've got to lose. So then you would then start on that new amount of calories, and then you continue on again. Now, when you reach your goal, when you finally reach your goal, then you don't stay down on those calories. You then have to gradually work your way back up to reach your maintenance calories, which will be recalculated on your new weight, where you would sit. And they will be higher than what your calories were when you were dieting. So they will be higher than that. And you gradually, week by week, increase up. Now your weight may fluctuate slightly, but then it will level off, and then you will stay as you are. Now, I'm not saying as months and years go on that things don't change, because as we age, things do change, and people need less calories than they did before because they're moving more, because they're aging, because they lose muscle. So their muscle is not burning as much as it used to, and their metabolism isn't as fast, because that does happen with aging. But then all you would need to do is then just slightly recalculate it again to then know where you're at with it and sit on those slightly lower maintenance calories. And that should leave you long term quite happily sitting where you should be and being happy, and have the right energy levels, be sleeping well, and feel content. Because the whole idea is if you're eating the right amount of foods, carbohydrates, fat and protein, then your mood levels should be good. You should be sleeping well, and you should have great energy levels. You should want to get up and do stuff, and you shouldn't be getting dips in a day where you feel very tired and all these sorts of things. So that's a sort of a simple explanation of what happens on a fat loss sort of process. Something more complicated, which I tell you what, I am finding is becoming quite frequent with people, is people that actually need to go through a reverse diet situation before going into a fat loss situation. So that's people that maybe haven't been eating enough for a long time, so their body has got stuck in a rut and the metabolism has slowed down, it's not working effectively for them. So if they're stuck in that rut, before we can't reduce the calories because they're already too low and below what they should be for their body to be able to function correctly. we have to go through a reasonably long process. Yet again, you're looking at about 8 to 10 weeks where you slowly increase calories. Now, that may be very scary to people, and believe me, coming from experience, it is very scary, and that's coming from someone with an eating disorder. Increasing every week can seem like, but that's the only way to get yourself out of that rut. You've got to go up to come back down again. And you'll find, as I have done with experience and with people I'm working with, that you may, after 8 weeks, have gained at maximum around about a pound and a half. But if you think about that, I have probably taken your calories from, say, 1,000 to 2,000. So I've increased your calories over those weeks up to 2,000 calories. You're eating 1,000 more a day than you should be. And you've only gained a pound and a half. And with some people, their measurements have gone down by centimetres. You'd think, well, how does that possibly make sense? I'm eating more. How is that possibly? Because your body is starting to wake up to what it should do. Your metabolism's going, oh my God, I'm being fed here. I can start working better. I can start burning more effectively. Please, please give me more, give me more. And that's what happens. It wakes the body up again. And so then you would then reach, you'd have to keep going till you reach your maintenance calories, which is where you should have been sat on to maintain the weight you have been when you first came to me. Then, before going into the fat loss stage that I explained a minute ago, you have to then go back down. You have to go back. You have to sit on that. You have to sit on those maintenance calories, which can probably be the hardest part of it, because you at that point you're probably thinking, right, now I'm going to have to go down at some point, because it is a way when you've got to start reducing again. However, you've got to sit on that for your body to get used to being at those calories. And that's normally anything from about 4 weeks to about 8 weeks. Sitting on maintenance calories. You may find that your weight fluctuates. You may find your measurements fluctuate. That's all part of the process of getting your metabolism back into a stable place, because you cannot start a fat loss phase until you've sorted out your maintenance calories and you've sorted out your metabolism. Once that's happened, you can then start at that beginning fat loss process, like I explained earlier. So then I would put you back in a deficit, put you back into this deficit that we've done with anyone else, of 250 to 500, and start working you back down again. And then if you find you're someone that has got a fair amount to lose, it could be the case that you end up doing this process not just once, but twice, until you reach where you're supposed to be. Because by the time you've gone down so far, you can only go down so far. You're going to have to come back up again. And sometimes that does involve rebuilding your calories up to then come back down. There's no point any nutrition advisor out there not sort of being honest with this and saying, oh yeah, we'll get you done in about a month, don't worry. It's not going to happen. I'm being honest, it's not going to happen. It's going to be something that someone needs to invest in, and take the time to get their body back working how it should be, to be able to get where they want to be. So I just wanted to explain that. So in case anybody has been sort of on my page and just wondered what happens when they start working with me, this is what happens. And it's not me trying to sell, months and months and months of working with me. I'm just being honest. I mean, I've got someone who's going to step away when they reach their maintenance. They're going to step away for 4 weeks and they're going to do the maintenance part of it on their own. And then they said they'll come back then to me to then do the fat loss stage. So it's not like I'm saying, I want your money, you've got to stay with me forever. It's not about that. It's about just making it clear to people that this is, as much as I do sell a 4-week package, because I think people need to maybe get used to what's happening with it and see whether they want to continue on after that with me. But it may be a case that you have to invest a little bit longer to see the results you want to see. But it has to work for you. So I just wanted to do a quick video on that. I mean, there's so many ways of doing things out there in regards to diet. I'll give you an example for myself. Before I went on holiday, I was sitting at around about 1,900 calories as a maintenance. I do around about 3 to 4 sessions of weight training a week at home in my own house. So I don't go to the gym or anything, and I walk a little bit. And of course, I'm quite active in my singing job. So that's what I was sitting at. But I wanted to just, my body fat isn't as low as I'd like it to be. I think when I went to the nutrition coach, they were also quite surprised about how high my body fat was, really. So I think it's because I was struggling to build muscle, and a lot of that's due to my perimenopause, because my body just isn't building muscle like it should, because my testosterone levels are low, and also I just maybe wasn't progressing enough with my weight training. So I've really worked hard on upping my weights, and now my testosterone level is good. I've noticed that my muscle building has become a lot better. So I decided to put myself in what was called a mini cut, which is something that people in sort of the bodybuilding and sort of models do in the bodybuilding world. If they want to do sort of shows, they do cuts and they do bulks. They can cut fat and then they can build muscle. So I decided to try it out. Because the thing about me is I thought, well, I'm my own guinea pig, really. I can give these things a go. If they work and they're sustainable and they're still healthy, then it could be something I can offer people. So I only did it for 2 weeks, which actually they say you should do it for about 4 to 6 weeks, really, maximum. So I put myself in a 500 calorie deficit, which I tell you what, I was a bit like, oh my God, because I'm so used to eating 1900 calories. And also, back in the day when I was in my mess before I went to a nutrition coach, that's what I was eating, and that wasn't enough. So it was a bit like, what's going to happen with this? However, the rules behind it were that I had to keep my protein extremely high. So I was on about 135 grams of protein, which is quite a high amount of protein. And also, my carbohydrates and fat was sort of up to me, but I keep my carbohydrates reasonably high as well, because I'm using a lot of energy. So I've got to make sure I've got that fuel to burn. And I found actually it worked quite well, because with the amount of protein I was eating, it kept me full and sustained throughout the day. And I made sure that I upped my fibre with my carbohydrates, because that also keeps you fuller. Your digestive system has to work harder to burn it. So, and same with protein. So in fact, it was then burning. Your body's breaking it down, really having to work hard to break it down, and then you then actually burn more fat. And in 2 weeks, I actually saw very good results. Now, this is not something I can just offer out to people that are on a fat loss journey and not done anything. This is something I wanted to trial with myself, because I've been sat at my maintenance calories for quite a while. And before that, I'd actually upped them a little bit as well. So this isn't something I can offer out to everyone that's maybe looking on a larger fat loss journey. But in the 2 weeks, I've managed to lose, I think, around about 2 pounds, which actually wasn't bad, £1 a week, which is pretty good, really. And my muscle had actually gone up, and my metabolism. So that just made me, and my clothes fitted a lot better. So I did my measurements, and I sort of put on my summer clothes and found they did actually fit a lot better than they had before. So that's a sort of another sort of a diet thing you can try with someone. If you're someone that's maybe happy where you're at, you're not looking to lose a substantial amount of fat, you're just someone who's sat on your maintenance calories, you're happy where you are, you work out, you're pretty energetic, but you just want maybe to go on something for a few weeks that can get you body ready for a holiday or a wedding or something like that. There's got to be a set way of doing it though, and the macros have got to be right, because if you don't get your protein high enough and you go into a mini cut, you could then end up losing muscle instead of fat. So I just wanted to give you an example, because I'm trying these things out all the time to see how they work. And I found it quite successful for me. So yeah, there we go. I think I've covered everything. But if it's something you've been thinking about, or you're interested in chatting with me, just send me a message. Send me a message. And like I said, I offer my free chat, half-hour chat, just to talk through sort of what's going on with you, what you need help with, and what I can do to help you with it, and what I can offer you. So yeah, get in contact with me. I've still got my offer running throughout June. Which is £10 off my packages. So yeah, if you're interested, contact me, and have a great weekend, everybody, and enjoy the sunshine. Thanks very much. See you later. Bye.